Pick up that grocery bag. Or those jeans. Whatever you spent $80 on last week without thinking twice. Go ahead and hold it up because I want you to really look at it. Because what you're holding right now isn't just a bag of food or a pair of pants. It's a $40,000 decision you didn't realize you were making. That's not an exaggeration. That's math. $80 invested at a modest 10% annually, compounded over 40 years, becomes over $36,000. And if you keep spending it like that every month, every single month, buying things instead of building things, you are not spending money. You are spending your future. You are handing over decades of financial breathing room for things that will be gone, worn out, or forgotten before the year is over. Most people think $80 isn't enough to start. The wealthy know that $80 is the entry fee to an entirely different life. And today, I'm going to show you exactly how to use it. Let's start with something nobody talks about honestly. There is a gap between where you are right now and where you want to be. And I know you feel that gap. You feel it when you check your bank account at the end of the month and the number makes your stomach drop. You feel it when you watch someone your age talk about their investments and you don't even know where to begin. You feel it when you know you're working hard but you're not getting ahead. Here's what I need you to understand about that gap. It is not a talent gap. It is not a luck gap. It is not even entirely an income gap. It is an information gap. The distance between where you are and where you want to be is almost entirely made up of things you haven't learned yet. And here's the part that should make you angry and motivated at the same time. Not knowing those things is costing you. Every single day. I call this ignorance debt. Ignorance debt is the invisible price tag on the knowledge you don't have yet. It's the taxes you overpay because you didn't know about a deduction. It's the raise you didn't ask for because you didn't know how to negotiate. It's the freelance client you lost because you didn't understand how to price your work. It's the business you never started because you thought you needed more money to begin. These aren't failures of effort. They are failures of information. And the cruel thing about ignorance debt is that it compounds just like regular debt does, silently, in the background, while you're busy working hard and wondering why nothing is changing. The good news is that it can be erased. Not slowly, not painfully, but through deliberate, strategic investment in the one thing that pays you back forever, what you know. Now here's where I'm going to say something that might surprise you, especially coming from someone who talks about money for a living. If you have $80 right now and it took you a long time to save it, putting it in an index fund is mathematically correct, but strategically slow. I know. Everyone online says buy the index fund, set it and forget it, 8% returns over time. And they're not wrong, but they're not giving you the full picture either. If your income river is a trickle right now, if every month feels tight, if saving $80 was a real effort, then dropping that $80 into a fund that returns 8% a year gives you $6.40 at the end of 12 months. $6. That is not going to change your life. That is not going to get you out of the trap. The index fund is the right tool, but only once you've built the river wide enough to pour into it. Think about it this way. Imagine your income is a river flowing toward your life. Most people are standing in that river with a small bucket, hauling water one scoop at a time, exhausted, wondering why they can never get ahead. The wealthy aren't hauling bigger buckets. They built pipelines. They figured out ways to make the water flow to them automatically, in volume, without them standing there catching it manually. So when you're at the $80 level, the question isn't which bucket should I buy. The question is how do I build a pipeline? And the answer is that your first $80 should be used to buy the knowledge of how to build one. Let me give you 3 concrete ways to weaponize $80 right now. Not eventually. Not when you have more. Now. The first one I call the $200 lesson for 80. Every single year, millions of people overpay their taxes, sign bad contracts, make avoidable legal mistakes, and leave money on the table in negotiations simply because they didn't know what they didn't know. 1 hour with a tax specialist, a contract attorney, or a business advisor can save you thousands. Not hundreds. Thousands. I've seen people spend $60 on a 1-hour consultation and walk away knowing about a home office deduction that saved them $4,000 that year alone. That's a 6,600% return on $60. No index fund in history has ever done that in 12 months. The most expensive conversations you'll ever have are the ones you were too afraid to pay for. Your $80 can buy you one of those conversations. Go find the specialist. Go buy access to the knowledge. The return will embarrass every investment you've ever made. The second way is what I call the bridge skill. I want you to hear this carefully because this single idea, if you actually act on it, can change your income trajectory within 90 days. There is a principle I believe in completely. Many talented, hardworking people are just one skill away from significantly more wealth. One skill, not a degree, not 5 years of experience. One skill. And for most people, that skill is sales or marketing or understanding how businesses actually work. I'm not talking about manipulating people. I'm talking about learning how to communicate value clearly, how to convince someone that what you're offering is worth paying for. That's it. That one ability, the ability to sell, is the difference between talented and broke and talented and thriving. You can find books on this subject for $15. You can find courses for $39. I've seen people read one book on negotiation and get a raise the following month that they've been waiting 3 years for. A single $20 book can contain a decade of someone else's failures. You get to skip those failures. You get to time warp past the mistakes that cost other people years. That is infinite return on a $20 investment. Your $80 can buy 4 of those books, or a course that teaches you a skill that companies are begging to pay for right now. The third option is for the people in the back who are sitting there saying, Jen, I hear you, but I really do want to start investing. I want the market. Okay, I respect that. Here's how you do it in a way that actually works. Don't put in $80 and then never touch it again. Start with $1. Literally $1. And then increase your contribution by 1% every month. 1%. If you invest $1 this month, next month you invest $1.01. The month after, a little more. This is what I call the 1% habit, and the reason it works is psychological. Your brain has a built-in alarm system for deprivation. The moment you feel like you're sacrificing, the moment an investment feels painful, your brain screams, stop, this is dangerous, we need that money. But a 1% increase every month flies completely under the radar. Your brain doesn't even register it. 6 months from now, you'll look at your investment account and be genuinely surprised by what's accumulated, because you never once felt the sting of putting it in. The habit muscle grows quietly, invisibly, until one day it's strong enough to carry real weight. Now I want to talk about something that is underneath all of this, because most of what I've said so far is tactical. But the reason most people stay stuck isn't tactics. It's mindset. It's the way they see money and themselves in relation to it. There's a story that gets told in financial circles about McDonald's. Most people walk into a McDonald's and see a restaurant. Ray Kroc looked at McDonald's and saw a real estate business. He didn't build an empire by flipping better burgers. He built it by owning the land under the restaurants. That distinction between consuming and owning is the single biggest mental shift you need to make. Right now, most of us look at $80 and ask, what can I get with this? The wealthy look at $80 and ask, what can this earn me? The consumer sees purchasing power. The owner sees seed money. Every single time you spend money, you are making a choice about which side of that equation you want to live on. The $80 you spend on something you'll forget in a week is a vote for consumption. The $80 you spend on knowledge, on a skill, on the beginning of an asset, that's a vote for ownership. And I know some of you are sitting there feeling the weight of this differently than others. Some of you haven't checked your bank account in 3 weeks because you're afraid of what the number will say. I see you. I've been there. There's actually a name for this in behavioral psychology, the ostrich effect, the human tendency to bury your head in the sand when the financial picture feels too painful to look at. But here's what I need you to hear. The anxiety you feel from not looking is always worse than the reality you'll find when you do. The number in that account, whatever it is just information. It is not a verdict on your worth. It is not a permanent sentence. It's a starting point. Facing it honestly, really looking at it, really accepting where you are, is the only move that replaces anxiety with clarity. And clarity is the only place where real decisions get made. You cannot build a pipeline from a place of avoidance. You can only build one when you know exactly where the water is flowing right now. So here's what I want you to take away from everything we've talked about today. The best investment you will ever make is not in the stock market. It's not in crypto. It's not in real estate. It's in yourself, in your own knowledge, your own skills, your own earning power. Because here's the thing about self-investment that nothing else can offer. It cannot be taken away from you. A market crash cannot erase what you know. A recession cannot repossess your skills. A bad economy cannot steal the value you've built inside your own head and your own capabilities. Every other asset you will ever own is vulnerable to forces outside your control. The asset that lives inside you is the only one that isn't. That's not a motivational poster. That is a financial strategy. Your first $80 isn't a bill. It isn't a burden. It isn't too small to matter. It is the first brick in your fortress. And fortresses don't get built all at once. They get built one deliberate, intentional brick at a time. Stop hauling buckets. Start building pipelines. Stop looking at what money can buy and start asking what money can earn. Stop letting ignorance debt compound in the background while you work hard and wonder why nothing changes. The information you need exists. The skills you need can be learned. The gap between where you are and where you want to be is closer than you think, and it is made of something you can actually acquire. Choose yourself today. Your future self is waiting on the other side of this decision.